The Western narrative begins with an assumption, a massive assumption, that every woman on earth secretly wants to dress like the West, and if she does not, she must be oppressed. But the entire argument collapses the moment one question is asked. What if she simply does not want to reveal her body? Suddenly, the script breaks. Because the debate was never really about clothes. That is the illusion. The real debate is about the body itself. How much of it should become public? How much of it should remain private? And here is the contradiction nobody wants to confront. Even the secular West believes in private parts. Even the West says certain parts of the body should not be publicly exposed. Certain exposure crosses a line, certain boundaries exist. So the real question is not, should humans have private parts? The real question is, who gets to decide what counts as private? And suddenly, the conversation becomes uncomfortable. Because once that question is asked, the entire illusion of objectivity begins to collapse. A Muslim woman may look at her hair and say, "This is private." Look at her arms and say, "This is private." Look at her knees, legs, ankles and say, "These are private." Not because somebody forced her to hate her body, not because she is ashamed of existing, but because privacy itself is a value. And who exactly has the authority to declare, "No, your definition of privacy is invalid. Ours is correct"? Why is one civilization allowed to draw boundaries around the body, but another civilization is mocked for drawing those boundaries differently? Why is exposing certain body parts considered normal, while covering them is treated like oppression? Who made that rule? Who decided that privacy must stop at one line and cannot go beyond it? Because the moment a Muslim says, "My hair is private," my arms are private, my body is not for public display, the response often becomes, "No, not those parts, those do not count." But according to who? According to modern fashion? According to advertising culture? According to entertainment industries built on visibility and exposure? According to societies whose standards of acceptable exposure have constantly changed over time? And this is where the entire "it is just culture" argument begins to collapse too, because even women raised inside Western secular societies, women who spent their entire lives with the Western definition of what counts as private and normal exposure, when they embrace Islam willingly, something changes. Not their nationality, not their ethnicity, not the country they were born in. Their understanding changes. The same hair once seen as ordinary public display may suddenly feel private. The same arms once casually exposed may suddenly feel intimate. The same body may now be viewed through an entirely different moral lens, not because a government forced them, not because they were born into it, but because belief itself reshaped how they understand dignity, exposure, modesty, and privacy. Which means this cannot simply be reduced to Muslim countries versus Western countries. No, this reaches deeper than geography, deeper than politics, deeper than culture alone. It is about worldview, about the lens through which the human body itself is understood. The Western mind keeps measuring freedom by how much of the body can be uncovered. But the Muslim mind may measure dignity by how much of the body is protected from public consumption. Completely different worldview, completely different definition of freedom. So when someone says, "You are not even allowed to dress the way you want," the response is devastatingly simple. What makes you think everyone wants to reveal their body the way you do? What you call freedom, others may call exposure. What you call empowerment, others may call loss of privacy. What you call self-expression, others may see as turning the human body into a public display. And this is the contradiction the propaganda cannot escape. It claims to defend choice. But the moment a woman chooses stronger boundaries around her body from conviction, suddenly her choice is questioned, mocked, pathologized, called oppression, because the system was never neutral. It never merely said, "Choose what you want." It quietly demanded, "Choose what we have already normalized." That is why many Muslims do not see themselves as deprived, because they are not resisting freedom. They are rejecting a completely different understanding of the body itself and what counts as its private parts.